Hey everyone, thanks for dropping by Bronzedrag0n Gaming. For those that have been with me for a while, you know that my gaming roots run deep with PC gaming. I've been a hardcore PC gamer since I got out of the Navy and got my first PC in the mid to late 90s. And it just continued from there. In 99, when Everquest came out, it got its hooks in me. And then I progressed through Everquest. And in early 2000s, when World of Warcraft came out, I got hooked on that. So MMORPGs were my life at that time. Now, I've dabbled with consoles here and there. When I was a kid, I pestered my mom enough to get me an Atari 2600, which was really the Sears version of the 2600 because it was a little cheaper, but it played the same games. In the mid 90s, or early to mid 90s, I got a Sega Saturn, and I enjoyed those games. Especially, I remember Earthworm Jim being a great game for me. And later on, in the early 2000s to 2010, I got a original Xbox and then an Xbox 360. But if you were around that time period, you just had to kind of pick your team to play on, so to speak, either Microsoft or Sony. And just you bought your console and those were the games you bought. And mostly, unless you were rich, you didn't have both consoles and both libraries of games. So consequently, I went the Microsoft route. I had a lot of great gaming on the Microsoft Xbox series, but I missed out on the PlayStation, especially the exclusives that they had on the PlayStations, both the 1, 2, and 3. So here we are in 2026. And if you are a console gamer, or if you've just looked at the console market, it is a jungle out there. Just to get one brand new game, which is not a, they're running 60, 80, $100 a pop. My wallet just isn't ready for that kind of commitment. Let's face it, console gaming is a premium or a luxury hobby at this point. I was thinking about it at the beginning of the year, and I wanted a way to go back and experience those legendary PlayStation titles that I missed when I was busy with EverQuest and World of Warcraft and the series of great MMOs that came out in the early 2000s, but without the 2026 price tag, right? But that got me thinking, was there a way to experience those PlayStation legends? And I'm talking legally. You can do all kinds of things as far as, using copy games and things like that. But I'm not getting into that. I wanted to use real hardware, real games, develop a library of physical media for I guess these days you're buying games online, digital downloads that the companies say that you don't technically own. And I'm not going to get into that, that whole thing because it's a long discussion point. But with this, I can own the media. And whenever I feel like playing the game, I can pull it off the shelf and play it. So that's kind of the idea here. And also, I didn't want to go completely retro, right? I wanted to go what I'm terming as retro modern. In other words, I wanted the games to be able to be easily connectable to my newer TV with HDMI without, like upscalers involved. I wanted to have decent graphics. Obviously, they're not going to be as good as the current graphics, but I wanted them to look good. And the connectivity was going to have to be very easy. And the biggest thing, the games have to be dirt cheap because, frankly, that's the majority of the cost when you're playing games, right? So with that, my friends, Bronzedrag0n Gaming is heading back to the PlayStation 3 in 2026. Why the PS3 in 2026? Well, frankly, it's a sweet spot. It has HDMI. The graphics look great on modern TVs, like I said before, without an expensive adapter. Most importantly, the hardware and games are a fraction of cost of what the current versions or editions of the game, like a PS5 and the games that go with it. So to find my entry point into this world, I went to eBay.
Okay, after playing PC games and online games and Web3 games for so long, I kind of got the itch to go back to experience some things that I've never experienced before in gaming. Early on in the 2000s, I was an Xbox guy. You had to kind of choose which side you wanted to go by. Did you want to get an Xbox or did you want to get a PlayStation and just stick with it, right? So I had an Xbox. I had an Xbox 360. I didn't go any further than that because at that time point in my life, most of my gaming was done online with MMOs. But I did like certain things within the Xbox categories, such as racing, Forza, boxing, football, things of this nature that I would play once in a while. What I wanted to play, obviously, was being able to have the option to play some of the Sony games that were Sony PlayStation only. So in 2026, guess what I got? I got myself a PlayStation 3. Now, I know most of you will not call PlayStation 3 retro, but I've experienced a lot of the retro, and I wanted to get kind of that situation where the graphics were really getting a lot better, and that's where the Xbox 360 and a PlayStation 3 come in. So I guess it's generally referred to as retro modern now. So it has a large selection of games to choose from. And we're still in the older time frame, early 2000s. I did get a slim model. Sorry if that messed with the mic. There are 3 models to choose from when you go to choose to buy a PS3. Let me get this box out of the way. You can choose the original fat model. Let me see if I got that on screen right. The fat model has the greatest library to choose from. The fat models, early fat models, you can play all of the games from PS1, 2, and 3. But the problem with those models are at this point in time, they're getting into that high failure rate kind of. They're going to fail. If yours hasn't failed yet, it's just a matter of time, right? So the slim models, which is what this is, they run a lot cooler and have a lot lower failure rate. You also have PS3 Ultra Slims. I think that's what they're calling them. They're a little bit thinner and they lay down kind of like a little CD player or something or other. So I chose this. I found this on eBay. The previous user had upgraded the hard drive with a 500 gig solid state drive. So it was a good brand name and it was, an extra $50, $60 value just for the hard drive.
Seeing that this console was well taken care of and upgraded by the person that had it before me is a reminder that great tech doesn't necessarily have to expire just because the next version comes out and the company wants you to buy the next version and the next set of games. I picked this up for $110 on eBay, which is essentially the cost of 2 new AAA games. So if you want access to the largest selection of library of games within the PlayStation universe, it's cheaper now to go with a PlayStation 3 Slim model and buy a PlayStation 2 if you want access to that library of games, which a little bit of a take there is that the PlayStation 2 library of games has the largest library of games by far for any console ever made. But hardware is just half the battle. Let's take a look at the games. Okay, now what would a PlayStation 3 be without some games? So I want to give a shout out to Secret Castle Toys and Games. They have a YouTube channel. Go check them out. Pretty funny stuff. They run a retro gaming store, video gaming store in Kentucky. I've had a lot of fun watching their videos, so I figured I'd order some things off of them. All these games came out of that box, and they were just under $60, including shipping. So all of the games in this stack right here were $9.99 or less. So one of the other things that really attracted me to this era of gaming is the very, it's pretty cheap to be a gamer, right? In this day and age, one of the reasons why I wanted to go a little bit retro was the fact that games today cost $60, $80, $100. And you go to the game store and you buy one game and you feel kind of bad. I mean, couldn't I have used this money on something better? But when you're just paying $5 or $10 for a game, you can get a selection of games and have fun with them. So I just looked up the top 20 PlayStation 3 games, and I picked out some I thought that I would have fun with. So the first thing is the Batman game. So I got 2 I got Batman Arkham Asylum, and I got Batman Arkham City, both pretty highly rated. So I do like superhero games, so I figured I would like those. I got those. I do like fighter games. Back in the day, I spent many a quarters in the arcade on fighter games. So I got Virtua Fighter. We'll talk about this here in a minute. I got Street Fighter 4 Super, and there are two versions of this: regular Street Fighter 4, and then the Super version. The Super version is supposedly better, has more characters to choose from, etc. So I went ahead and got that, and I got Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I'm not sure if that's the top 20, but I like Marvel Heroes and I like fighting games, so I figured I'd pick that up. Now, The Last of Us, every list that I looked at as far as top PlayStation 3 games, this was either number 1 or number 2. So it's supposed to have an incredible storyline, incredible graphics, everything, so I figured I would go ahead and pick those up. Now, on another pickup on basically eBay, I picked up NCAA football 13 and 14. Back in the day, I loved the ESPN football games before Madden took over. Now, obviously, this is NCAA and not pro, but you used to be able to pick either Madden or ESPN. I was one of those people that loved the ESPN games. Either way, I went and got those for a pretty good deal. NCAA Football 14 is supposed to be probably the best NCAA football game for the PS3. And also, the one game that I simply wanted a PlayStation 4 back in the day was the Gran Turismo series. Now, I was a big Forza player on Xbox, and I still love Forza, but one of the things I wanted to play was the Gran Turismo series, and I never could, so I went ahead and got number 6. Now, I also wanted to support my local businesses. Went over to a local gaming source, not quite local, but within not too long of a drive. I picked these up today. Not great deals, but once again, love to support local small businesses when I can. Nier is supposed to be a good playthrough. Drakengard 3, a little bit harder to find. It's supposed to be a little bit clunky, but it gets kind of mixed reviews. I got it because I got a good deal on it, and it has a little bit of collectability to it. Drakengard 1 and 2 didn't get great reviews, so I'll let you know how that goes when I actually play through it. And the God of War collection. I wanted to play God of War 3. However, the large opinion online that I came across was it makes sense to play through God of War 1 and 2 to get the full storyline before you dive into 3. So, in the world of $80 digital downloads that you quote-unquote don't even own, the PS3 secondary market is a gold mine. You can find masterpieces for $5 to $15. Of course, there are rarer titles that are collectible that will run more, but there are thousands of hours of gameplay at your fingertips for cheap. The sheer ROI I just showed you on a handful of games, hundreds of hours of gameplay for less than the cost of a new Ultimate Edition that comes out this month. For a gamer on a budget in 2026, this isn't just nostalgia. This is math that's good for your wallet. But does it actually work? Is this retro modern experience actually playable today? Or does it look too dated? Time to hook it up and see if this console selection in 2026 actually works. Okay, sorry for the glare, but we're up in my bedroom. I've got my spare TV. This is actually the TV that we used during that time period where if I would have bought a PlayStation 3, this is what it would have been played on, because this is what I played my 360 on. Okay, sorry for the glare. This is what it comes down to. We're going to test to make sure that the PlayStation 3 actually turns on. So let's cross our fingers. I had to turn on the TV. I haven't had it on for a while, so I had to make sure the right video input was selected. We got 1080p. This is good. This is good. We got the PlayStation 3 menu coming up. I like it. Read product documentation. Of course, we always read all the health and safety rules, right? Okay, we got the PlayStation 3 menu. Hey, the PlayStation 3 store is still online? I don't know. I don't have it hooked up to the internet yet, so we'll have to check that out in the future. I got Gran Turismo 6 here, so let's test out, see what the game comes up, if it comes up. It read it. This is nice. I was hoping this would happen. I was hoping we wouldn't have any issues. Appears to be loading. Here we have the loading screens. And hopefully I have something to do after dinner tonight. Play a little bit of Gran Turismo. Okay, I am not getting any audio. Let's turn the audio up. And that would be the reason, because the audio was down. So, audio and video working. It's playing the game, reading everything. Sounds good. No weird mechanical sounds from the drive, so I'm happy with that. Success. For the price of a nice dinner out, I now have a library of some of the best games ever made so far. For those of you in my Web3 and Play to Earn community, this is the ultimate entry if you want to get a lot of hours of gaming content for a low cost. Beyond the affordability, which is a key factor, it's the sheer volume of quality exclusive titles that are now so accessible. Games like The Last of Us, Uncharted series, God of War 3, Metal Gear Solid 4. These were all landmark titles when they were released in gaming for many, and I missed out on them. Now I get to experience them with fresh eyes and bring you along for the ride. If you're tired of that $80 price tag on modern gaming, maybe it's time to look backward in order to look forward. Before we wrap this one up, I want to hear from you. What were your fondest memories of PlayStation 3 if you did play PlayStation 3 at that point in time? What are the absolute must-play games in that series? If you're a PC gamer who made the jump to consoles or vice versa like me, what was the experience like? Drop all your thoughts and recommendations in the comments section, even if you had some PS3 horror stories to share. I read every single comment and try to reply to the greatest majority of them. If you enjoyed this look at the start of my new retro modern gaming adventure, please hit that like button. It helps out. And also, if you're new here and you would like to follow along with the PS3 coverage that I'll start sprinkling into my normal topics I cover on this channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss any episodes whenever I drop them. Thank you very much for watching. I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy. And as always, this has been Bronzedrag0n, and I'll see you in game.